showcase amazing Australian women speakers so you get to see the huge amount of talent available. And so we can shift the stats from 30% women speakers at events to 50%. My guest today is the fabulous Julie Hyde, keynote speaker, author, and clarity instigator for high-performing humans who've lost themselves in the noise. For over 20 years, Julie has helped high-achieving women cut through the noise, stop second-guessing, and lead with clarity they can feel. From the boardroom to the chemo chair, Julie has walked the pressure and lived the principles that she teaches. Through the GFC, a global pandemic, and cancer, she has rebuilt, redefined, and remembered. Leadership isn't a title, it's a choice. And the right choices, they change everything. Today, Julie works with executives, entrepreneurs, and teams who are over the hustle and ready to lead from purpose, not pressure. Whether through her keynotes, her podcast, Leading You, which is top 5% globally, or books, You Always Have a Choice and Busy, Julie's mission is the same: to help you lead like you, not like someone else's idea of success. Her style, straight talking, strategy packed, and soul led, because leadership should never cost you your identity. That sounds fabulous, Julie. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm really great, Rachel. And that was quite the intro. So I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. I mean, every time I interview any woman on this show, I'm always struck by your bios, because there is just so much in there. And I would just love you to expand on how you work with women and what you bring to the table, because you seem to have an edge that is very unique. Can you tell us more about how you approach that?
Yeah, thank you. I think the overarching thing to all of my work is very much about courage.
Yep.
So, and that is the courage to make an empowered choice, to create a life that you love, a legacy that you're proud of, to quieten the noise that's holding you back, and to live in alignment with who you truly are, not who you're expected to be. So it's very much about having the courage to make those choices for you, rather than really just, drifting along and creating your legacy perhaps by chance, or your personal brand by chance. So it's really being intentional with who you are, what you stand for, and then, really looking at, what is it that you want to achieve. So, the background to that is I was in corporate for 21 years and I had a great career, loved it, was promoted up the ranks into senior leadership. And I loved it until I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a point in time, like I literally grew up in corporate.
Right.
I started straight out of school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Because I knew I couldn't be a vet from an emotional point of view, because that's what I really wanted to do.
Oh.
And I just joined the bank, and I had an amazing career, but it was just, it got to that point where our values just weren't aligned. So then I had to make a choice. Do I stay? What do I do? And then I just decided to jump out and start my own business. It was no plan, no idea what I was doing. Don't recommend doing that, but it was one of the best decisions I ever did.
Wow. Following your gut instinct, because what is the value of I'm trying to construct the sentence. Not living by your values or staying somewhere where your values aren't aligned. What's the cost of that if you do try and stick around and make it work, but you just know deep in your gut this isn't working?
Look, I think from speaking to so many leaders, women, men and women, the cost of that is your happiness, is your ultimate fulfillment. And oftentimes that can be burnout, because burnout is not always doing too much. It's that mental load where you're pushing it uphill rather than going with a flow. So you're forcing things to happen rather than, really, being in your flow, being in your groove and doing things that are lighting you up.
Yeah.
So many people stick with something
Mm.
because of the what ifs,
Yes.
or they've got long service leave coming up, or they've got, a gazillion sick days that they want to hang on to, or, what if I can't find a role? But it's like, so what if you spend the rest of your days being unhappy in this particular role?
It's
Like,
just worth it.
it's just not worth it. And when you have a values conflict, you can push through,
Yeah.
for a certain period of time, but it's definitely not sustainable.
No. And, I'm an example of that. I was in a job where I knew this was not working, and I'd got the degree, I got the job, and, thought I should be trying to work through all of those issues. But at the end of the day, I ended up asking a staff member, what keeps you in this job? And her answer changed me forever. And she said, this job energizes me. And I was able to identify straight away, this job does not energize me.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to make a change.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. And that's, I get, that's where the courage comes into it, right? Because
Oh,
often the easy choice is to just stay where you are, like to stay within that comfort zone, if you like, and put up with or tolerate what's happening. Where, it's where courage comes into play is when you choose to make that leap, or you choose to get unstuck from where you are and look out for what's possible for you.
Yeah.
And, from when I started my business, it was like this whole other world is out there waiting for you.
Yes.
And so many opportunities are out there if you look for that. If you channel your energy in seeking out opportunities rather than just deciding you're going to stay put.
And in the comfort zone, which isn't really a comfort zone, we think it's a safe place, but it's actually damaging us. But and we can feel overwhelmed by the thought of stepping out and doing something new, because the possibilities could be endless. But someone like yourself coming alongside people, there must be a process that you take people through to help them whittle out those opportunities, bring down the overwhelm, and know which direction to go. What's that process?
Well, it's really understanding, like, what is it that's keeping them where they are right now? Like, what are the things that you're basically telling yourself?
Yeah.
What's your mindset around this? And understanding, okay, so if we could paint a perfect picture, what would that be? Like, what would you be doing? How would you be feeling? What would your life look like? How would your energy levels look? So it's really painting that vision, if you like, so that it can pull you forward and you can keep your eye on that prize. And then it's really then bridging the gap. So understanding, okay, so what are the decisions that need to be made? What are the actions that we need to take? What mindsets do we need to change, to tweak, to adopt, to be able to do what we need to do to make those courageous choices? And, it's not about doing things, going from here to here straight away. It's understanding that once we get really anchored to who we are and what we stand for, the game can really change for people. And that's when I see the lights truly go on. Because when we're stuck in that busyness, that just doing, that tolerating,
that's in the way.
Juggling a gazillion balls, you can really lose connection to who you are. So it's very much about connecting back to you, to what's important, to your priorities. And as I say, to your values, and owning who you are. And that can give people a lot of power. Like, a lot of confidence.
Yeah. I think it sounds like it's the main ingredient, because I think, we can have the intention of starting something ourselves, like what you've done, where we're fed up with, where we're at. We know we're not in the right place. So we venture out, but, or we put it off because we're afraid.
Mm,
Um, but it sounds like, unless we really understand where we're coming from, what makes us tick, it sounds so simple,
mm,
but I know that, having been through it myself, it's so scary. It's so
mm.
scary, but I do not regret going through that process at all, at
No,
all.
no.
It's such an important process,
Yeah.
and I think that, we talk about being ourselves, and we talk about being, true to ourselves. But I believe that there is a real fear factor behind really embodying that, because we're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid of looking foolish. We're afraid of getting things wrong. How much do you have to bat away fear?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
And I think, we can choose to live we can choose to live our lives by fear, or you can choose to live your life, whatever that, in confidence, in courage, in alignment, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
But it's all of those things that we tell ourselves, and often they're not true.
Mm.
And we worry about how we'll be judged, what will people think, what if I stuff up?
Mm.
Um, we often think that people care
Mm.
much more about us
Yes, true.
than than what they really do. So
Yeah.
what if you make a mistake?
Yeah.
You'll have a great story, and you'll have some great learnings that
Yeah.
you can share with others.
Yes. And
So it's but for me, I've constantly got little voices in the back of my head sort of saying, "Who are you to be,
mm,
hosting a podcast? Who are
mm,
you to be speaking to this audience?
mm,
Why do you think they're even gonna listen to you?" All of those things that you're telling yourself that are nasty,
mm,
that, have the potential to hold you back, to eat into your confidence.
mhm.
It's a daily thing that,
Yeah.
you know, you have to quieten the voices. I call that little, I call her the Maud on my shoulder, who's talking into my ear going, "Meh, meh, meh."
Maud.
Maud.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah, not a nice voice.
Yeah,
Sorry, any Mauds out there, no offense, but,
yeah,
that's just who I'm like, "Maud, I'm not listening to you right
yeah.
now." And it's quietening down that voice because, sometimes those voices can be like an obstinate child who just wants attention, and they
Yeah,
get louder and louder and louder.
yeah.
Um,
I love that you've given it a name.
yeah, I find that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. It's like giving it an identity,
yeah.
doesn't give it power, it gives it something that you can talk to and address, and in your mind, it's something that you're dealing with.
Mm,
That's how I see it. Uh,
mm.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's something that's worked for my clients as well,
Yeah.
um, where the voice is just basically trying to keep you safe,
Yeah.
right? That's what it's trying to do, because when we go out in the world, when we take a chance, when we take a risk,
Mm,
there's threat.
mm,
Going back to our, caveman days where, there's a saber-toothed tiger out there, so we have to be careful. But
yeah.
there's no saber-toothed tiger out there when you're going to be,
Yeah.
making a choice that is truly in alignment with
Yeah.
the values, or who you are, what you want.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to c calm the farm,
Yeah, yeah.
quiet the noise,
Yeah.
just move forward anyway. Like the Louise Hay, quote, "Fear the fear and do it anyway."
Yes.
Not as easy as it sounds, but it's so empowering. And
Yeah.
oftentimes you look back and think, "Why didn't I do that earlier?"
Mm,
Yeah?
yeah.
So, mm,
Yes. It's like, yeah, the regret of hindsight, but also realizing I had a process to go through before I could realize that I needed to do that. But it helps me
absolutely.
inform how to move forward, though, doesn't it?
It does. It
Mm,
does. And I find it really interesting. And I suppose my radar's up for this now after going through my cancer journey.
Yeah.
It's amazing the choices that people can make
Mhm.
after they have been confronted with,
Mm.
something life-threatening or a major health issue.
Yeah.
It's then that they will make the choice to make the changes that they know they need to,
Mhm.
to work less, to put
Mm.
the boundaries up, to protect their priorities, their energy.
Mm.
But we don't have to go through situations like that to make really good choices for ourselves.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't really realize that life gives us so many of those opportunities to be mindful, and to redefine the way that we think and reframe. But yeah, um, I would love to know who your typical clients are. Who do you work with the most, Julie?
Mm. The most now is, I would say, corporate women, those in senior leadership positions, or C-suite, but
Yep.
also entrepreneurs, like people who are starting their business.
Right.
Yeah, and that might be that they're starting and they're wanting to grow to scale,
Hmm.
or oftentimes it's when they're bringing on a team of people and they may not have been a leader.
Right.
So, and common issues that people feel like they might be feeling like
Mhm.
that's stuck, or they might be feeling lost,
Yeah.
or they just want to go to that next level and they want support to do so.
Yeah.
And, that taps into both of my backgrounds.
Yeah.
I believe that to work really effectively with people, you have to have lived experience in terms of
Yes.
what they're going through.
Yep.
So they're my main audience, but I also work with men, and they might be, well, since I left corporate, they have been execs who are wanting to take that next step up in leadership.
Yep.
Or I have consulted into small business. So they might be, a scale of like 40 people or so. They're wanting to grow.
Yep.
So they need to implement, really strong people and culture practices into their business. So yeah,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
a bit of a mix.
Yes. Well, it means you're not going to be bored. You're going to have variety in what you
Bored.
do.
Definitely not bored. There's always variety. And I love that. I think because I'm really clear on my values and what I can offer,
Yeah.
um, it's easy for clients to align into
Mm.
that, to really go, yeah, I resonate with what she
Yeah.
doing, what she can give me. So I think
Yeah.
that's there. Yeah.
Yes. And you're right about the lived experience, because they would be picking your brains, in so many different situations. I know I would be, because, it's a real skill to be a leader. And unless you've, done the hard yards and figured it out for yourself, it's very difficult. It's like for myself, I have the skill of, singing and speaking, but I had to develop the skill of teaching as well. They're both very separate.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, um, yeah, we have to be aware of the skills we need when we are working with people. So,
Yeah.
do you work mostly one-on-one with people, or do you do group work? What would a typical week look like?
Oh my goodness. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, what is a typical week for me? It's so
Mm.
different. I do work a lot of one-on-one. I
Yep.
find my clients really value that.
Yep.
I have got a group mentoring program, a mastermind starting up in October.
Yep.
I used to run those pre-COVID, and they were very popular because
Wow.
of that community.
Yep.
So definitely one-on-one, starting the group mentoring back up. And then, I could be running a workshop, or I could be doing a speaking
Yep.
gig within the week.
Yep.
Or I might be hosting an event because I've just started my events back up. So last week it was an event, it was coaching, And that, there's a lot of behind the scenes that go into like the marketing, all the social media stuff that we need to be doing now, writing articles.
Yeah.
So it's a very mixed bag.
Yes. Oh, yes. And again, you're not bored.
Definitely not bored. And also, I have a virtual team of people that, help me pull all my stuff together. So
Go nuts otherwise.
to them as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need a good team.
Mm.
So when you're up on a stage, what are you typically talking about?
There's a few keynotes that are probably the most popular. And ever since I wrote my book Busy back in 2016, that has been incredibly popular with people, because it's definitely not a book about how to be busy. It's a book about how not to be busy.
Yep.
And in the keynotes, I share the 8 different types of busy that we can tend to do.
Right.
So it can build our self-awareness about the type of busy that we can fall into, and of course offer the antidote to that. So that keynote can be lots of fun. And then I also talk to mindset. So really understanding where we can, I suppose, channel our mindset according to what we want to achieve. And really understanding that our mindset is made up of our beliefs, of the thoughts that we tell ourselves, our attitudes, that informs our behaviors, and then that will give you the outcome. Then re-engineering that in the reverse. And the other one is very much about choice, which aligns to my book, You Always Have a Choice. And that's about having the courage to make the empower choices that you probably need to make to live the life that you love, to create the legacy that you're proud of, but to really understand what your priorities are and anchor back to who you are and what you stand for. So that keynote can go in all different directions depending on what, my client's after. But it's very much about changing people's thought around the doing and changing it to the being. Like, who am I being? Like, who am I as a person? When you remove the job title, when you're not talking to your LinkedIn bio, like, who are you and what do you stand for? So it's really, all of those is very much about challenging people's thinking. Like, as a result of me, presenting to them, I want them to walk away thinking a little bit differently about things that are culturally potentially expected, particularly around the busy. And then how you are as a leader, how you show up every single day and how you show up in the home as well. Because we're all a leader. You don't need a title to be a leader. So
True. And there's no defining line between work and home life, because we're human beings. We can't just leave something of ourselves at the door. We're with ourselves wherever we go, regardless of what we're doing. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting when I deliver my busy keynote, the amount of people that come up to me at the end and say, I never thought about the perception that busy creates. And probably the biggest feedback I get is about the perception and the impact on the kids.
Oh, right. Of course. Makes sense.
So, when mum or dad come home and they're just on the phone, emailing, or they're talking, or they're not present. They're still at work. Like, they might be physically in the home, but mentally they're still at work. And I had one lady who said that her daughter said that she was sick of being a technology orphan. This was a little girl of 9 years old who found that language to say to her mum, I'm sick of you being on the phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's saying something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't realise, we think, I've just got to get this one thing done. I've just got to get this phone call done and then I can rest. And then, no, I've got to do that and I've got to do that. We can go down the rabbit hole so easily.
Yeah.
Yes. So transformational to people's lives to be firstly alerted to the fact that they do have a choice and that there is a mindset shift that they can embrace. Is there a transformation that you have um, facilitated that's a real standout for you?
Well, I think some of the busy ones are quite great in terms of people really understanding the impact of them as a role model to
Yeah.
our future generation. That for
Mm.
me is really important.
Mm.
But one from when I delivered my choice talk was I got feedback from someone after that. She sent me an email and said that I had helped her
Mm.
leave a violent relationship because she understood that she had a choice and
Mm.
she made that choice to leave. And that still like gives me goosebumps. Like that just sticks in my mind. That was last year actually. And it was, yeah, that's big.
Wow. Our words have power, don't they?
They do have power, and you don't know who is
Mm.
listening. You don't know who it's going to help.
Mm.
And that is the power of sharing your story,
Yeah,
you
very
know?
much so.
Mm.
Very much so. And we just don't, we don't know who's listening. It must be so satisfying to know that you're making a difference to people's lives.
Absolutely, because I mean that is my mission. That
Yeah.
that that is my work because I want to make a difference. I
Yeah.
want to help people be really powerful leaders of themselves in the first instance.
Yep.
So, like that lady who sent me the email, she made a really powerful choice for her.
Yeah.
Um, and I believe that when more of us do that,
Mm.
when there's more of us who are
Mm.
leaders of self, who take responsibility, who make great choices, not only for us, but for, the greater good, then the
Yeah.
world is going to be a better place.
Oh, yeah.
So that absolutely lights me up.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, sometimes it just takes someone else pointing something out and just reminding us. And, getting that prompt is just what we need. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. It's sometimes, when you deliver a workshop and the leader says, oh, the team really heard what you said about, productivity, for example. I've been telling them that, for the last couple of years. It's
Yeah.
just a different voice
Yeah.
delivering the same message in a different way that can make a
Yes.
difference as well.
Yes, yes, absolutely. If it doesn't land, then we've got to think outside the square, and that's part of that role of instructing and showing the way.
Mm,
And nothing is textbook.
yeah.
It's we work with human beings,
Yes.
and we're all different. Some things, tend to be more generic and a little bit more common, but at the end of the day, we all take things in differently,
Mm.
and you must come across that as you deal with people.
Yeah, absolutely. We all learn differently.
Yeah.
We all hear differently. There's so many, as you said, we're all humans, but we're all incredibly different
Mm.
learning styles,
Yeah.
communication styles. There's so
Yeah.
much difference that you can tap into.
Yeah. So how different is your life now compared to your corporate years, Julie?
It's so different.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I was about to say it's not as structured, but am quite a structured, organized person. So
Yeah.
I like to know what's going on for the week. But I think now getting out of the corporate bubble that it was at the time, like I left 15 years ago,
Mm.
networking wasn't a massive thing.
Mm.
Executive coaching wasn't huge at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
Um, it's just so much more, I think, expansive.
Yeah.
Because in corporate, you can get stuck in the four walls of your organization and speak to the people
Mm.
within the four walls.
Mm.
But since I've left, it's really, I suppose, opened my eyes to so much more. Like, the incredible work that small business owners do,
Yeah.
the incredible, speakers who are out there that have so much gold to give.
Mm,
It's just such a different world that I live in now to when I was a corporate,
yeah.
started early. I was never a massive finish later because I was super, super organized, and I always exercised and had a social life, but worked really, really hard, at that time. Not that I'd say I think I work even harder now, but it's very different.
Yes. Yes. And more satisfying, fills you up more.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, I loved my career at
Mm.
that time, and I learned so much.
Oh, yeah.
But since having your own business,
Yeah.
without a massive conglomerate infrastructure
Yeah.
that you can use, you
Yeah.
just learn so much more.
Yes, and working with different kinds of people, different kinds
Yeah,
of businesses.
yeah,
I think it gives us an education in life,
it does.
hearing other people's perspectives, how other people think about things, how they run things.
Mm,
We're always taking mental notes,
mm.
and yeah, I find it fascinating working with people. I'm just naturally curious.
Yeah.
So now, Julie, if there is a couple of pieces of advice that our listeners could benefit from, what would they be?
Look, I think the biggest piece of your advice that I share that I got quite a long time ago is not trying to hang on to who you were
Mm,
years ago. Um, it's really anchoring to who you are and what you stand for now and
yeah.
who you're becoming. And
Mm,
it's really being intentional about that
mm,
because, when we try and hang on to who we were or even, staying right where we are right now,
mm,
we can get stuck, we can get stagnant. And that's when, priorities can go out the window, when burnout can creep in, when we start feeling really unhappy.
yeah.
It's really understanding any choice that you make, who are you going to become in that process?
Yeah.
And is that going to fuel you or is it going to deplete you?
Mm,
So it's really being intentional about your choices and making sure that they're in alignment with your values. And if they're not, to own that as
yeah.
well. Like it's no one else's fault. It's really understanding that whatever choice you make,
Mm,
there's a reward or a consequence. So, and we've got the power to make a choice in any situation. Even when you think you don't have a choice, you have a
yeah.
choice.
Yeah. We always do have a choice.
Yes.
Yeah, that is fabulous advice. I think the thing that stands out to me, apart from, we do always have a choice, is that we can let go of who we used to be. And it's very hard to do that at times, very hard. And because there is a certain amount of our identity caught up in that, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yep.
And therefore purpose, and therefore that's what drives us. And it's like, if I do away with that, and where do I go? But we have to do away with that in order to move forward.
Yes.
So yeah.
Evolving.
Yes, yes. Well, Julie, have we left any stone unturned? Is there anything else that you would like to add?
My goodness, there's probably a gazillion things, but I think we've had a great conversation. And you've been amazing, Rachel, in pulling things out and facilitating the conversation. So
I'm so glad. Like I said, I'm naturally curious about people and learning about their lives, about their work, and your work very much fascinates me because the whole area of leadership can be seen as something that's rather stiff and staunch, and okay, we've all got to behave ourselves and sit up straight. That's what a leader does. But I think that's very much a stereotypical old school way of thinking about leadership. And I love what you bring to the table in terms of being true to who you are as a person, because at the end of the day, we're trying to lead,
yeah,
and we are going to be our best leaders if we come from a place of authenticity that is actually authentic.
yes,
So, yeah, that's what I love, what you bring to the table.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. It's definitely, I believe, it is the new standard of leadership in terms of having the courage to be you.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm with you all the way. With you all the way. So thank you so much for coming on our show today. And it has been an absolute delight having you.
Thank you, Rachel. I've loved it.
So I am sure our audience out there has enjoyed this interview. I certainly have. This show goes live every Thursday at 11 a.m. on YouTube and will be uploaded straight to LinkedIn and Facebook. If you need a speaker, then please go to womenspeakers.com.au and you don't have to pay a commission. You can contact your preferred speaker directly and you can search by topic and location. You're also welcome to post a request into our Facebook and LinkedIn groups called Australian Women Speakers. If you are a speaker or want to be, sign up to our directory and get found. My name is Rachel Pietsch. Thank you so much for joining us today.